Welcome back. There was a lot to take in following the first of 3 presidential debates between President Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden last night. Joining us this morning to help us break it all down is Associate Professor and Pre-Law Program Director at CSUB, Dr. Jeanine Kraybill. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So last night, clearly a debate unlike any other for many reasons, but going into it last night, is that what you expected?
I did expect it to be unconventional in the sense that we know in watching Donald Trump that his rhetoric as a president is different than what we have seen before. I did expect for there to be interruptions because we've just, through the 2016 election and through Donald Trump's presidency, we have seen him directly engage with the American people, whether it be on Twitter or in person this way, or how he's even acted in the press room at the White House. The one thing that still was very surprising, though, to me was some of the personal attacks, particularly with regards to Joe Biden's children. And then there were even times, Joe Biden did take a few, jabs towards the president and even told him to shut up on, a live debate camera. So I think that the decorum for the presidency started to unravel. I do have to say, and I say this objectively, though, that I think that in part is because of the fact that we are at a very polarized point in American history. And I think that we are still dealing with an incumbent who has a very different communication style than we've seen with past presidents.
Mm-hmm. So yesterday you joined us this morning and you mentioned that at this point in the election, most people have their minds made up. They know who they're voting for. But was there anything said last night that you think could change someone's mind? And what stood out for undecided voters from last night's debate?
Sure. Well, Politico is featuring a piece where it did a small focus group of undecided voters, and more of these focus groups will be coming out from, the viewing of last night. From some of the focus groups that I'm seeing is some, small groups were saying that they felt that the president was unhinged. If you are an undecided voter, which at this point I said yesterday morning is a very narrow part of the electorate at this point, that's important. You don't want that group of voters to think that you're unhinged. You want them to think that you're presidential and that you're leading us out of this pandemic. You don't need to do ad hominem attacks. You don't need to go personal. I also think, though, on the flip side, I think that Joe Biden is, if he proceeds with the next debate on the president's side in 2 weeks, next week we have the vice presidential debate. I think he's going to have to find a way to be able to state his points and try to weave and bob outside of Donald Trump's interruptions. Because I think that Donald Trump's base, even though that's not an undecided group, thinks that Donald Trump is coming from a place of strength when he's interrupting, and then that makes Joe Biden look weak. But for some of those undecided voters that might be leaning Trump, the Biden camp needs to prep him in such a way that he can kind of evade those interruptions. And I think the moderator needs to do a better job with that too.
Did you see any missed opportunities last night from both candidates here?
Well, I think in terms of Donald Trump, I think he could have done a better job of coming out more compassionate about COVID-19. He was very much on the defense about COVID-19 and his response. And I think that he missed an opportunity to be compassionate. Joe Biden took that moment to say there are 200,000 Americans that have died. People are waking up in the morning and there's not a seat at a table because they've lost a loved one. And I think that was a missed opportunity for the president. I think on the flip side that there were some points, particularly with the economy and Joe Biden's economic plan and path out of the pandemic, that he didn't pounce on to fully articulate.
All right, Dr. Jeanine Kraybill, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll post this full interview to our website, turnto23.com. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.